How's up, guys? We are back with another Uncommon podcast. We're talking about kind of the pitfalls of the phone when it comes to fatherhood. And so what would be interesting about this is, you being a father kind of really before smartphones and that kind of stuff hit big time, right? I mean, they were around, but not to the extent they are now.
Well,
The
let's
iPod
see.
was around you, right?
Well, let's see. So I was born in '68, Gen X for life. Born in '68, the iPhone came out in 2007.
Yeah. An iPhone, okay, because I was thinking about the iPod.
The iPhone. So iPods probably came out maybe say a year or two before that.
Yeah. That was like in middle school, high school when that came out.
Yeah, about that. Maybe a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
So you'll see memes about this kind of stuff where phones were on the wall
Yeah.
with long, tangled up cords and that kind of thing. But obviously our distraction was TV,
Yeah.
right? You might have a show you're watching all the time, Saturday morning cartoons, that type of stuff. But I can remember a person I was working with, she came back from a conference and she's like, one day you're going to have a computer and it fits in your hand. You take it everywhere you want to go. It's like a small little thing.
All right, H.G. Wells, calm down.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, I remember like going to a meeting with her. I'm like, that sounds crazy. What?
So flying cars next?
And she probably told me that probably in 1998.
Yeah.
99.
I mean, you move this around. And we're using the term phones, but you move this any technology, realistically. I mean, I'm surprised that Google Glass did not get as far as it did, honestly. I think it was a little bit ahead of its time just because people weren't down with it. Because you can see a little bit of this with the Ray-Ban stuff and everything, but in the Apple One, the Quest, we're just slowly trying to ostracize ourselves with technology. But I think this does... We were talking about this in the perspective of fatherhood and kind of using technology, phones, TVs, whatever, almost like checking out of your child's lives.
Sure.
I mean, I remember seeing a meme years ago where these parents were like, the comic strip was drawn where the parents were always taking photos of the kid, and he was a very young kid. And so when he drew a picture of the family portrait, it was a picture of him. And as the heads of his mom and dad, there were phones because all he saw was the phone in front of their heads taking photos.
Okay.
And so, or, looking at phones or whatever kind of thing. But it's interesting to see how this has kind of like migrated over the years. Because, I mean, the sitcom dad, we always poke fun at him. But, that's a big danger because that is somebody that just,
it's a trope.
Goes to work, comes home, shuts the car door, walks in and goes, let me know when dinner's ready, and pops the game on kind of thing. And then, like, Dad, look what I drew today. Not now. Talk to your mother, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so you can see that there's this desperate cry, I think, from any child that wants to, impress or connect with their father. And when you let, social media, news, football, whatever you want to put in that spot, really take your attention away from being intentional with your children.
Yeah.
Really stunts the growth of how you can kind of impress upon your children, good ethics, discipline, Christian values, that kind of thing. Because, we talked about this recently. Just because you're not influencing your child, someone's influencing your child.
Oh, someone's influencing your child every minute of the day. You have the choice to be the main one or not.
Yeah. And so, we're going to kind of dive into this a little bit. But our first for this chapter here is Proverbs 27. The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them. And I think that it's interesting to see how many verses talk about, leading up your children and the right way to go, and how many parables God or Jesus used talking about fathers and children, and how often, we see in the Bible different stories, Joseph growing up and being taught by his dad, and then how that kind of impacted him throughout his story, and how often we leave that to other people. We're like, school teach you how to do that, or Sunday school, they'll teach you how to be a good Christian, and then we kind of leave it at that, and then don't really take responsibility in the household to show,
Yeah.
here's how you love your wife, here's how you love your friends,
Sure.
and that kind of thing, because your children are absorbing something from you, whether you want that to be or not, because you sit there and ignore your wife when you come home and throw all responsibility back on her.
Yeah.
Your parents or your kids are going to see that and go, okay. So that's what it means to be a godly man, is to just kind of ignore my wife when I get home, pop open a beer, and watch the game. Okay, got that. I'll use that in the future. And whether you want that to be or not, that's what they're saying.
You ever heard the term latchkey kids? So latchkey kid was mean that your parents probably worked and you left and had to lock the door yourself, and you got home from school and let yourself in. And, both my parents worked, and many times that was the case. I got off of school. Before I started working, I would come home and lock the door, come in, because, it's like, say, 2:30, 3 o'clock. They may work till 5 or whatever. And so we spent, especially the Gen X people, we spent a fair amount of time kind of entertaining ourselves. One, I'm my only child, so I'm kind of comfortable in my skin, being alone a little bit. But, even being out of school, after school or summer, whatever, we rode bikes. For those who don't know what bikes are, those are things that, two-wheel apparatus that you pedal outside in the sunshine,
No engine, motor, nothing?
No battery poweredness. I was the battery of that. So we spent time on our own doing stuff, right? And so I think we probably didn't see our parents as often as maybe this generation does now, who spends a lot of time indoors.
Yeah.
And so now, ironically, you can have 4 individuals in the same room, and they're a billion miles apart because they're all on their phone. And so I think that's what we're talking about here, is that being present in the moment. And, if you're at a table talking with even, adults, and you're constantly looking at your phone, they see it, and they're like, okay, well, obviously something's more important than this communication, this conversation. So it is odd that we struggle with this so much, considering that it's always been something there, right? Either we've gotten used to it, or we haven't learned a lesson from it, whether it be in front of a radio, hearing a program, or a TV, or a phone, or a computer, or whatever it is. You would think that we would have found a way to segment that. Okay, that's gonna be time for me to, play games or play golf or whatever it is, right? But we tend to overdo that thing.
Sure.
And to the detriment of our family and us. And so one of the things we say here is that, your eyes tell them how important they are, much more than your words.
Yeah.
Because, you can say things and just never follow through with it. Talk is cheap, they say, right? And so, they want to know they're important to you, and you do that by investing in their lives, spending time with them, talking to them. On Saturdays right now, Mom and I are going to see the grandkids play soccer.
Yep.
In case you don't know, 4-year-olds are not very good at soccer. So it's not a very entertaining game or to watch, but that's how you invest those moments, because you blink and those moments are gone. So.
Yeah, you're always going to have something that's vying for your attention,
Sure.
I think, in any capacity. I think I always love the irony that while I'm sitting in church, I get a little notification on my phone and tells me my screen time.
9 o'clock every Sunday.
9 o'clock. And while I'm sitting there in service, I always get that notification. And I always think it's always interesting to see, okay, while I'm here in the Lord's house, how much time did I spend on my phone this week? How much time of that did I spend in my Bible app?
Right.
And it's always so convicting to know that no matter how good your intentions are, and I mean, you may be doing great things on your phone while you're, sitting there I'm investing in my 401k for my kids in the future, or
Sure.
I'm doing my Bible reading or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when we use that as an escape
Yeah.
to, be the role model in the house, be good friendships, or be a good friend in friendships, be a mentor to someone around us, and we use that as, well, my phone's much more interesting than this, or it's easier for me to unplug and just swipe up every 2 seconds for a TikTok, and I'm not interested in that one, go up kind of
Yep.
thing, than sit there and have deep, meaningful conversations that make us feel vulnerable. I think that's when we kind of start losing that connection that we're called to have with each other. And we always joke about the more connected we are with our phones and our smart watches or whatever, the further we are from each other because we just don't
Yeah.
care.
I mean, you would think it'd be the opposite, right? Social media, the irony, right? I try to use it for social in the sense of like if I see a friend that's in another state or a family member, reaching out to them maybe a message or a birthday or whatever kind of thing. And those funny memes are not going to post themselves. That's another thing I try to do. But you don't have a social component to that. It feels
Right.
that you get bite-sized little nuggets that don't accurately paint that picture, and you don't really kind of know someone until you spend 20 minutes talking to them. Because even just hallway conversations are not worth it, right? They don't tell you a story. But you spend 20 minutes talking to someone, not just standing next to them, but talking to them, you'll probably get a much better view of that relationship you have and that person as well.
Yeah, and we always talk about this from a business perspective because we see it a lot with clients that everyone's much more comfortable being very aggressive and mean to a computer screen rather than a person.
Sure.
And I think it starts a lot of, if you were to have that kind of conversation or discourse in person and have a debate that way, I think it'd be much more civil than every time I see someone posting just vile things online. I'm like, would you have the cojones to tell that person what you just said to their face while they're standing in front of you? I really hope not. But this is kind of the thing where, like, people say things online because there's kind of no physical consequences.
Sure. You won't get punched in the mouth online.
Right, yeah. It's like you say that to someone in person, you're probably going to get hurt.
Sure.
And I think it's interesting to just know that as we like unplug from those around us and we plug into the social media that, I think the worst of it was during COVID when people were locked down as much as they were, and you could just see people like suffering because there was no human connection there. So you can see that we are built and hardwired for connection, and no amount of social media or parasocial connection you have with whatever musical person or football team or whatever you live and die on a golf swing is going to replace that. And, it's a dangerous place to be because I think once you start switching out the love for the people around you with something that's intangible and far away and easy to kind of plug in and plug out of, it's harder to undo that kind of wiring.
Yeah, I do think that we always struggle with communication, and the Bible says, "Don't forsake the gathering together of the saints." It's not good for man to be alone, right? But we've always struggled with communication and getting along with each other. I mean, it didn't take very long in front of the Bible before Cain killed Abel.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not unexpected that we still struggle with communication. And, you watch the news at any particular time, maybe that threshold of saying vile things in person or online and not saying it in person, it may be getting closer and closer to each other because we're getting so used to saying and treating people a certain way that you get within front of someone, you're like, well, this is how I treat people all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting used to that. And so that's dangerous on its own. And we've seen that in current events recently. So, again, we have content on this. There's one called Time Spent. There's one about commitment, one communication. Obviously, you'll see our content, a lot of it has to do with communication with each other, because that's where it starts. Communication with God, communication with each other.
Yeah.
You can't spread the gospel if you can't talk to other people.
Right.
Seems like God knew that,
Yeah.
and so that's why he said, go out and spread the gospel and not just send them an email.
Post a funny meme, yeah.
Right.
Make sure you like that post on Facebook, because if you scroll past it, the devil wins.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and I do want to leave just maybe like a practical piece of information kind of wrap up here. And we've started doing this in my household of every day at a certain time, you put the phones away. Once it hits a certain time, 8, 9 o'clock, whatever, after dinner, phones get shut off, put it aside. You don't look at them anymore. So I'd recommend trying just one day, just start that and see how that goes.
That's good.
Because there's other things you can do. I think
Sure.
that's the kind of the lie we tell us, like, well, what is there to do besides, I mean, this big TV in my living room, what else am I supposed to do? And there's, with the weather getting nicer, walks.
Go walks.
There's plenty of board games and card games out there. There's something you can do that doesn't require you to unplug from your family, and that can let you have memorable moments with your children and your wife that, I mean, I distinctly remember the many board game nights we had growing up. Most of them during blackouts with Monopoly that never ended. But I have those memories that, if we didn't do those, I wouldn't think about that. And
Sorry, Life, Monopoly, categories, on and on.
Yeah. So, just take one day this week, set aside, a cutoff time for the day, turn off the TV, put the phones away, and just do something together as a family.
Put on some vinyl records and listen to some music and talk about
Get
something
jiggy
different.
with it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, check out uncommen.org for this content. Check out our membership. And so I want to thank this week. Studio 490 is the sponsor for this week's podcast. And so, Joshua, hit him with it.
If you're going to be something, be uncommon.